"I didn't steal a single thing," Olivia said quietly, her voice cutting through the rain. "I carried what people were missing." Lucas Williams stood frozen under a flickering streetlight in southeast D.C., staring at the woman who'd worked in his home for over 20 years. The bags she carried weren't evidence of theft. They were evidence of everything he'd refused to see. Lucas Williams owned half of Washington, D.C. He could tell you the value of every building from Capitol Hill to Navy Yard, down to the dollar. He knew market trends before they happened, which zoning laws to bend, which council members to call. But he didn't know his maid's middle name until the night he followed her through the rain. Olivia Smith arrived every morning at 7. She knew how Lucas took his coffee: black, 2 ice cubes, never sugar. She folded his shirts the way he liked. Kept his Georgetown townhouse running smoother than his company ever did. And for over 20 years, Lucas never once asked where she went when she left at night. He never asked why she looked so tired some mornings. Never wondered about the worn canvas bag she carried. Never questioned the heaviness in her eyes when the news talked about rising rent or another family pushed out of their neighborhood. Olivia was just there. Quiet. Dependable. Invisible. Until 3 weeks ago when Lucas noticed something off. It started on a Tuesday evening. Lucas was working late, reviewing blueprints for a Navy Yard development. He heard the front door close, Olivia leaving, same as always. But when he glanced out the window, he saw her walking down the sidewalk carrying 2 heavy bags she hadn't brought that morning. He told himself it was nothing. Borrowed something, maybe. Groceries. But then it happened Thursday. Same bags, same weight pulling at her shoulders. Monday. Wednesday. Every time she left, those bags appeared. Lucas checked his office. Nothing missing. The pantry, the wine collection, the safe in his bedroom, everything accounted for. But those bags kept showing up, and the question burned. What is she hiding? Lucas Williams built his empire on patterns. And Olivia Smith had just become a pattern he couldn't explain. So on a rainy Thursday night, Lucas made a decision that would break him wide open. He was going to follow her. If you're still here, you need to understand something. This isn't just about a rich man and his maid. This is about every person you've walked past and convinced yourself you saw. Every life you never asked about because asking costs something. If that's piercing you right now, stay, subscribe, like, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from, because what comes next will wreck you in the way souls need to be wrecked. Lucas left work early that Thursday, told his assistant he had a meeting. He parked his black Mercedes 2 blocks from his townhouse and waited, engine off, rain tapping the windshield like a countdown. At 6:47 p.m., Olivia walked out. Coat pulled tight, bags weighing down her shoulders, heading toward the bus stop on Wisconsin Avenue. Lucas's heart hammered. He felt paranoid. Ridiculous. But he couldn't stop. She took the circulator heading south. Lucas followed, keeping 2 cars back. The bus cut through Georgetown, past DuPont Circle, down through Shaw, neighborhoods Lucas knew from tax assessments but had never walked. The streets changed. Older row houses. Laundromats with bars on windows. Corner stores with handwritten signs. This was the DC his developments were erasing, block by block, signature by signature. Olivia got off at Benning Road, southeast. Lucas parked a block behind, watched her walk past a check-cashing place and a boarded-up church. She stopped at a narrow brick building. Bars on basement windows. A handwritten sign, New Mercy Community Center, all welcome. Olivia knocked. The door opened. Warm light spilled out. She stepped inside. Lucas sat there, wipers moving slowly, every instinct screaming to leave. To go home. To stop before this became something irreversible. But he didn't. He pulled his coat over his head and stepped into the rain. The side door was unlocked. Lucas slipped inside, found himself at the top of a narrow staircase. Voices floated up, laughter, dishes clattering, a child asking questions. Lucas descended. Each step creaked. And then he reached the bottom. The basement was packed. 30 people, maybe more. Families at folding tables. Older men in worn jackets. Mothers holding babies. Kids coloring on the floor. The smell of soup and cornbread thick in the air. And there in the center was Olivia. Hair down. Jeans and a Howard University sweatshirt. standing at a portable stove, ladling soup, smiling in a way Lucas had never seen. "Here you go, Mr. Donovan," she said, handing a bowl to an older man. "Extra crackers, just how you like." "Bless you, Miss Olivia." A little boy tugged her sleeve. "Where does the food come from?" Olivia knelt down, eye level. "I make it with love, baby. So you grow up strong." Lucas couldn't breathe. The bags weren't stealing. They were giving. Lucas stood in the shadows of that basement, watching the woman he thought he knew become someone completely different. Olivia moved through the room like she'd done this 1,000 times. She knew every name, every story, every preference. A young mother approached holding a toddler. "Is there enough for both of us tonight?" "Always enough, sweetheart. Sit down, I'll bring it to you." A teenage boy limped to the table, ankle wrapped in a dirty bandage. Olivia noticed immediately. "Jamal, that needs changing. Come here after you eat." She pulled medical supplies from one of the bags Lucas had been tracking. Bandages, antiseptic, pain relievers. Things she'd bought with her own money, the paycheck Lucas signed every 2 weeks without thinking about. An older woman touched Olivia's arm. "My grandbaby's medicine ran out. I can't afford the refill." Olivia reached into her coat, pulled out a small pharmacy bag. "Got it yesterday. Take one in the morning, one at night." I wrote it down. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "How do I ever repay you?" "You already did," Olivia said softly. "You showed up. That's everything." Lucas felt something twist in his chest. Then he saw him. Harold Jenkins. Sitting in the corner, eating slowly, head down. Lucas remembered the name from an eviction case 2 years back. A building his company bought and cleared for luxury condos. Harold fought it, showed up to the hearing, said he'd lived there 30 years. Lucas's lawyers handled it. Harold lost. The building came down. And now Harold was here, eating soup served by the woman Lucas suspected of theft. A little girl ran up to Olivia. "Can you tell us a story after dinner?" "Of course, baby. What kind?" "One about angels." Olivia smiled, touched the girl's face gently. "Then I'll tell you about the angels walking around right here. The ones you can see if you pay attention." Lucas took a step back. His chest felt tight, cracking open. He turned, climbed the stairs, pushed through the door. The rain hit his face like judgment. Lucas sat in his car for 2 hours. Rain drummed the roof. His phone buzzed, texts about investor calls, development proposals, meetings. He ignored everything. Finally, the door opened. People filed out carrying containers, waving to Olivia. She stood in the doorway, hugging them, telling them to stay warm. When the last person left, Olivia locked up, adjusted the empty bags, and started toward the bus stop. Lucas got out. "Olivia." She stopped. Turned slowly. No surprise on her face. Just deep, tired sadness, like she'd expected this moment forever. "Get in," Lucas said quietly. "Please." She looked at him for a long moment, then walked over and got in the passenger seat. Silence. Rain blurred the windshield. Neither spoke. Finally, Lucas's voice cracked. "How long?" Olivia stared ahead. 17 years. The words hit like a fist. "Why didn't you tell me?" She turned to him, eyes clear. Honest. Unafraid. "What would you have done, Lucas?" First time she'd ever used his first name. "You would have made it about you," she said softly. "Taken pictures. Posted it online. Turned mercy into marketing." She paused. "I didn't want that for them. They deserved to stay human. Not become your charity case." Lucas felt something shatter inside. Because she was right. Olivia looked away, out at the rain. "I started coming here the year my son died." Lucas froze. "Daniel," she continued. 26. Lost his warehouse job in Alexandria. Lost his insurance with it. Got sick months later, something treatable if he could have afforded a doctor. Her hands gripped the bag. "By the time we got him to the ER, it was too late." Lucas whispered, "I sent flowers to that funeral. I remember." You did, Olivia said. But you never asked how he died. The truth sat between them, sharp and undeniable. Lucas had signed the card, sent flowers, told her to take the week off, then moved on. Because Daniel was just a name, not a son who died because he couldn't afford to live. After that, I couldn't just sit with it, Olivia said. So I started showing up. Cooking. Listening. Helping people no one else wanted to see. She faced him fully now. People like Daniel. People who fell through the cracks because folks like you decided the cracks didn't matter. Lucas had no defense. Maybe you've never followed someone in the rain. But you've ignored someone standing right in front of you. You've signed something without asking who it hurt. You've chosen comfort over compassion. If this story is cutting you, don't look away. Because what Lucas is about to face, you might be running from too. Lucas couldn't sleep that night. He drove Olivia home, a small house off Bladensburg Road, northeast. Modest. Worn siding. A little garden out front someone cared about. Before she got out, Olivia said something that stayed with him. You ever notice how people like me become invisible? Not because we're quiet. Because you stop looking. She closed the door gently. Lucas sat there until sunrise, then went home. His Georgetown townhouse felt cold. Empty. Like a museum of money. He couldn't focus at work. His assistant asked if he was okay. He wasn't. Saturday morning, Lucas drove back to Southeast. Parked near the community center. In daylight, it looked worse. Cracked foundation, peeling paint, a roof that wouldn't last another winter. The door was unlocked. He went inside. The basement was empty except for one person. Harold Jenkins, the man Lucas had evicted 2 years ago, stacking chairs. Harold looked up. Recognition flickered. You're the developer. Lucas nodded. I am. What are you doing here? I'm trying to understand something. Harold studied him. Understand what? Olivia. The work she does. Harold's face softened slightly. Miss Olivia saved my life. Lucas waited. When your company kicked me out of my apartment, I had nowhere to go. 32 years in that building. Raised my daughter there. Buried my wife from there. Harold's voice stayed calm. Painful. Your lawyers said it was business. Progress. The neighborhood needed upgrading. Lucas felt his stomach turn. I slept in my car for 6 months, Harold continued. Then Miss Olivia found me. Brought me here. Got me into a shelter program. Helped me find work. He paused. She never asked why I was homeless. Never made me feel small. Just treated me like I mattered. Harold picked up another chair. You sign papers. We lose homes. And people like Miss Olivia pick up what you break. The words landed like stones. I'm sorry, Lucas said. Harold shook his head. Sorry's just a word. What are you gonna do different? Lucas didn't have an answer. Harold walked toward the stairs, stopped. She comes Thursday nights. If you really want to understand, don't just visit once. Show up. Stay. Listen. He left. Lucas stood alone in that basement. The smell of old soup. Stacked tables. Concrete floors. And for the first time in his life, Lucas Williams felt small. Lucas showed up Thursday. 7 p.m. sharp. Olivia was already there, prepping food. She glanced at him, said nothing, pointed to an apron. Lucas put it on. Stirred soup. Handed out bowls. Listened. People told him their stories. Jasmine, 19, pregnant, kicked out by her parents. Curtis, a vet with PTSD no hospital would treat. Miss Clara, 73, choosing between rent and insulin. Every story felt like a mirror Lucas didn't want to look into. He came back the next Thursday. And the next. Olivia watched him but kept her distance. No praise. No encouragement. Just steady work. Then, 3 weeks later, Lucas got a call that stopped his world. Mr. Williams? This is MedStar Washington. Olivia Smith listed you as an emergency contact. She collapsed during a doctor's visit. You should come now. Lucas ran every red light. He found Olivia in a hospital bed, monitors beeping, in her arm. A doctor stood nearby. She's stable, the doctor said. But her blood pressure is dangerously high. Untreated diabetes. Early kidney damage. She admitted she hasn't seen a doctor in over 3 years. Lucas felt his throat close. Why? He whispered. The doctor looked at him. She said she couldn't afford to be sick. Too many people counting on her. Lucas sat beside her bed. Olivia's eyes were closed. Her hand looked so small. She'd spent 17 years feeding strangers. And neglected herself completely. When Olivia woke, she saw Lucas sitting there. You didn't have to come, she said quietly. Yes, I did. She looked away. I'm fine. You're not fine, Olivia. You're exhausted. Sick. And you've been carrying all of this alone. Because I had to, she said, voice firm. Nobody else was going to. Lucas's voice broke. Let me help. Olivia turned to him, eyes hard. I don't want your money, Lucas. I want your attention. I want you to see what your buildings cost. Who gets pushed out. Where they end up. She took a breath. Don't fix me. Fix what you built. Lucas called an emergency board meeting. Monday morning. 10th floor conference room overlooking the Capitol. 12 board members. Investors. Lawyers. People who'd made millions off Lucas's developments. Lucas stood at the head of the table. We need to talk about how we operate. His CFO frowned. What do you mean? I mean we're displacing people, Lucas said. Families. Seniors. Veterans. We're buying buildings, raising rents, forcing them out. And we call it progress. Silence. One of the investors leaned forward. Lucas, this is what development is. It's how economics work. It's how we've chosen to work, Lucas corrected. But we can choose differently. You want us to lose money? I want us to stop pretending profit doesn't have a human cost. The room erupted. Arguments. Pushback. Accusations that Lucas was having some kind of breakdown. You've built this company on smart investments, his lawyer said. You can't just throw that away for sentiment. It's not sentiment, Lucas said. It's responsibility. He pulled out a folder. Photos of the community center. Harold. Jasmine. Miss Clara. People with names and faces. These are the people we displaced. I met them. I know their stories. And I can't pretend anymore that what we do doesn't matter. His CFO shook his head. If we change our model, investors will walk. Let them, Lucas said. More silence. 3 board members stood and left. 2 investors threatened lawsuits. But 4 stayed. Including his oldest business partner, Marcus Reed, who'd been quiet the whole meeting. What are you proposing? Marcus asked. Lucas took a breath. Community-centered development. Affordable housing protections. Right-to-return policies. Mixed-income buildings. Profit sharing with residents. That's a complete restructure. Yes. Marcus studied him. This is because of Olivia. This is because I finally opened my eyes. Marcus nodded slowly. Then let's figure it out. Lucas left that room knowing he'd just blown up his company. But for the first time in years, he could breathe. The restructure took months. Lucas worked with housing advocates, community organizers, former residents. He hired Harold Jenkins as a consultant. Brought in Jasmine to advise on youth programs. Asked Miss Clara what seniors actually needed. The development model shifted. Buildings included affordable units. Tenants got equity stakes. Displaced families received right-of-return contracts. It wasn't perfect. It was messy. Complicated. Slower. But it was human. Olivia recovered slowly. Lucas insisted she take medical leave. Paid. Full benefits. He covered her insurance, her medications, everything. She resisted at first. Pride wouldn't let her accept. But Lucas sat with her one evening on her porch and said something that changed the dynamic. You spent 17 years carrying people. Let someone carry you for a minute. Olivia looked at him. Why now? Why do you suddenly care? Lucas didn't look away. Because I was afraid of what caring would cost me. My time. My money. My comfort. And I realize now that was never the question. The question was, what would it cost me not to care? Olivia's eyes filled. Don't make me a project, Lucas. You're not a project, he said. You're my teacher. She let him help after that. By spring, the first building broke ground. A mixed-income development near Navy Yard. 40% affordable units. Community garden. Childcare center. Harold's name on the advisory board. The community center got a new roof. Expanded kitchen. Funded operating budget. Olivia stood beside Lucas at the groundbreaking ceremony, not behind him. Someone asked Lucas why he changed his approach. He looked at Olivia. She nodded. Because I spent 20 years looking at people without seeing them. And it took someone I thought I knew to show me what I'd been missing. If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. Maybe this story found you because you needed to hear that it's never too late to see people clearly. That wealth isn't what you build, it's who you protect. If that truth just landed on you, don't let this moment pass. Because the ending will show you what legacy really looks like. 18 months later, the building opened. Families moved in. Harold got a ground floor unit. Jasmine and her baby girl got a 2-bedroom. Miss Clara got an accessible apartment near the elevator. The day of the ribbon cutting, Lucas stood on the sidewalk watching kids play in the courtyard. Real laughter. Real life. Olivia walked up beside him. You did good, she said. Lucas shook his head. We did good. You were doing this long before I woke up. She smiled. Took you long enough. He laughed. It felt good. Can I ask you something? Lucas said. Go ahead. Why did you stay? All those years working for me, watching me ignore everything that mattered. Why didn't you leave? Olivia looked at the building. At the families. At the garden someone was already planting. Because I believed something about you that you didn't believe about yourself. What's that? That you could change. That you weren't just your worst decisions. That if someone cared enough to show you the truth, you might actually see it. Lucas felt his throat tighten. I don't deserve that kind of faith. None of us do, Olivia said. That's what makes it grace. They stood there quietly as the sun dropped behind the buildings. The same city. Different eyes. Lucas thought about the man he'd been 2 years ago. The one who followed his maid in the rain, convinced she was stealing. The one who saw people as obstacles or assets, never as souls. That man was gone. Not because Lucas fixed everything, but because he finally started paying attention. Olivia turned to leave. Lucas stopped her. Thank you. For not giving up on me. She smiled. Thank you for finally showing up. She walked toward her car, bags on her shoulder, lighter now. Lucas watched her go. And then he did something he should have done 20 years ago. He followed her. Not to spy. Not to catch her. But to learn where she was going. Because the truth Lucas Williams finally understood was this: legacy isn't what you build. It's who you see. Who you protect. Who you allow to belong. And the greatest buildings in the world mean nothing if the people who built them can't afford to live in them. Lucas walked beside Olivia that evening, not behind her. And for the first time in his life, he felt like he was finally going home. If this story changed something in you, if it made you think about the person you walk past every day, the name you don't ask, the story you assume you already know, then do something about it. Not tomorrow. Today. Look someone in the eye. Ask their name. Listen to their answer. Because the person you've been ignoring might be the one carrying exactly what you're missing. And that's not just a story. That's your life. Don't let this be the video you watched and forgot. Let it be the one that woke you up. Thank you for watching this story to the end. Please like and subscribe because tomorrow I will be giving you another story that will touch your soul and you don't want to miss it.